put your hand on it.
What I do is I just try to take my hat and I turn it around, and it's like a switch that goes on. And when the switch goes on, I feel like another person. I feel like a truck, like a machine.
All right, everybody, come on in, Papa Chow, Papa Squat, my old dirty cupcake. And it's October 19th, which means we are getting into our 19th movie for my October Halloween horror movie recommendations. These are my recommendations. Take it with a grain of salt. I am just a dirty white boy from the South, so take my suggestions as you will. I like to think I have decent taste in horror films, but taste is subjective. Hopefully you've enjoyed the list thus far, and hopefully I'm going to give you another good one here. And this one's a little more modern, something kind of a little more recent. Not super recent, but recent. My suggestion for October 19th is going to be Talk to Me from 2022. It's an Australian supernatural possession horror movie. It's directed by the Rucka Rucka guys from YouTube, Danny and Michael Philippou. Yeah, they directed a horror movie. So this movie, and let's get this out of the way. Let me preface this whole recommendation. There was a lot of hype around this movie, and there's a lot of hype around every single A24 movie that comes out. It's the scariest movie ever. Oh my God, I've never been so scared. Don't buy into any of that shit. Take that with a grain of salt, and also take the haters with a grain of salt. Each horror movie, you gotta take it for what it is. And when you consider this movie was directed by first-time directors from YouTube, this movie over-delivered in that aspect. Now, is it a perfect 10? Is it the greatest horror film ever? No. My score for this sits at a solid 8. Not perfect, not amazing, not groundbreaking, but it delivered in ways that I didn't expect it to. And as I get into some of the premise, maybe you'll understand. So this movie stars Sophie Wilde as Mia, and she's lost her mother, and she's struggling with grief and addiction and depression, and that's really the overarching premise of this entire movie. Not possession, not the beyond, it's how people deal with grief and addiction and depression. And she lives with her friend, Alexandra Jensen, who plays Jade, and her little brother, Riley, played by Joe Bird. They hang out with a bunch of other teenagers. You can look up all those people in the cast and crew. I'm not naming them all. These are the main people you need to be focused on. They're all having a party, and a friend brings out this embalmed hand. And if you grab this hand and you say, "Talk to me," you will become possessed, and it gives the possessee a euphoric high. So you can see why this is so appealing to these teenagers, because all of them are kind of dealing with grief, depression, anxiety, and addiction in some way. Even the addiction that they get from holding this hand. Well, this hand has a bunch of tattoos all over it. There's no origin given for the hand. And if you're the type of person that needs a whole lot of backstory before you're just thrown into this world, you might not enjoy this movie as much as some other people did. I don't care about having all the backstory in this. Throw me into this world. Go. Show me what you got. So as these teenagers are grabbing this hand, they all of them individually kind of become possessed for a little while. And it's revealed that you can only hold his hand for 90 seconds. And if you hold it for any longer, those spirits from the other side start to get a bit cantankerous, and they want to take over, and they want to stay longer. And it's kind of alluded to that if they stay longer, they take your soul and they take your place in your body. It's not delivered on any further. Like I said, this movie focuses more on Mia and her grief and her battles with addiction and anxiety and depression, and how she's living in her grief, and she thinks this is going to help her get beyond her grief by communicating with her mother on the other side. and someone gets a hold of this hand that shouldn't have gotten a hold of this hand, and horrible things happen, and it's a turning point in this movie. It's definitely a scene that kind of makes you, holy shit. And it seems that A24 likes to do that a lot with some of their movies. There's always this scene where you just kind of, Jesus fucking Christ. So expect that. As Mia gets her turn to hold the hand, she really goes from this grief-stricken girl to scary. I think Sophie Wilde's performance in this was really solid. There were a couple of scenes that I thought were kind of goofy. There's a weird toe suck scene. I don't think that landed the way it was supposed to land, at least with me. But the scenes involving Riley with the hand, be prepared for that, because it's probably one of the most horrifying scenes, subject matter wise, because it comes out of nowhere. Like I said, this movie isn't a 10, but it's not like a 5. It's not trash. It's not a dumpster fire. Don't believe the hype in either direction. I went into this movie with low expectations to mid expectations, and it delivered. Beyond those, not too much beyond, but enough that I'm like, God damn, that was pretty fucking good. I give this movie an 8. And while the idea of a possession movie isn't new, and a movie about addiction and grief aren't new, this movie packs it up in a new sort of way with the hand, and kind of taking a Flatliners approach, where in that movie they danced with death by putting themselves under medically. In this movie, they dance with death by holding the hand of a deceased person, the embalmed hand of a deceased person, and summoning spirits. And if they stay too long, much like in Flatliners, they're dead. So in that sense, like I said, this movie kind of takes a couple of ideas from several movies and packages them in a way that, while not groundbreaking, it feels somewhat original to what's been done before. And possession movies are very hard to get me over, because The Exorcist is my top tier echelon movie. It's my S tier horror movie as far as possession and any horror goes. The Exorcist. So all these possession movies that come out are always like down here. This one, I'd put it about right here. And that's pretty fucking good. If you haven't seen it yet, my suggestion for October 19th is from 2022, and it's Talk to Me. Y'all check this movie out. Y'all have a wonderful October and a wonderful Halloween. I'll be back tomorrow with the final 11 films in my October Halloween horror movie recommendations. Now, I'm going to tell you, these last movies for October 20th to October 31st on Halloween Day, these are what I consider to be 10s. Not by any perfection scale, but just movies that impacted me and that I love as horror movies and as a horror movie fan. These are movies that got me into the genre, and these are some movies that remind me that there's still a lot that can be done within the genre. So with that being said, y'all have a wonderful October and a wonderful Halloween. I'll see y'all tomorrow.